we spoke to Tobias, and I know you've worked incredibly hard on the calendar story, and I want to kind of get your views on these two TBCs. I'm wary that Formula E have done it again in terms of saying a record-breaking 18 calendar season, and then one of these TBCs doesn't seem to always turn up, and you're like, why say that? Why say that? But generally, do you think these two BCs could potentially work, and we do get an 18 calendar
Two BCs?
I don't know what I said. Do you think it could happen, or and we thought Madrid would be one, but Madrid was on the calendar.
Okay, so a few things to kind of unravel there. So let's start with the TBCs, and I'll mention a couple other points. So having spoken to Formula E co-founder Alberto Longo this week, the two TBCs, as I've understood it, and obviously based on sources that I have in the paddock, it's under my understanding that the first TBC, not the second, the first one is Sanya in China, which means that we would be going from China, away from China, then back to China for Shanghai.
Yeah, which doesn't make sense.
My understanding is that the first TBC will be Sanya in Shanghai, Sanya in China, should I say, which looks pretty likely. It's looking pretty good, of course. There's still homologation and things to go underway, because obviously it's going to be some tweaks compared to when Effie was last there, obviously. And the second one, according to my understanding, is going to be Jakarta. However, that's the one there's more question marks around, because there's still a deal needing to be struck. So Alberto is very confident that both will be sorted, so that's good news. In terms of other things he said, so using the Miami International Auto, that's a multi-year deal. Nice. So that won't be a one and done. It also means that obviously that venue will feature for Gen 4, which I think is very, very interesting. Harama, I'll be honest, whilst again that's something that I was aware about, it will be interesting. I mean, I guess, Pico, you can vouch, of course, for obviously us doing pre-season testing together last year. It's a cool venue, don't get me wrong, very old school. Hospitality-wise, it's going to need a lot of work. Grandstand-wise, it's minimal, so I'm concerned how many fans you'll get through the door. I think for a one and done, it'll be interesting, but obviously, FE quite clearly, this was more its attempt to get a race back in Spain. Of course, we've not raced there since Valencia 2021, if my memory is correct. Yeah. So we know that FE are wanting certain other venues in Spain. One of which, of course, being in Barcelona, the venue I can never pronounce. And
that one.
I can never pronounce it, but you know the one I'm going on about. Yep. I also wonder in the back of my head if the whole reason as well for Harama, maybe are Formula E interested in using Madry Ring or whatever it's going to be called when it's officially unveiled. I suspect so. I'd be very, very surprised if they don't want that. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it's an exciting calendar.
It is a very, very much exciting calendar. Let's talk about something else that you love.
I just want to throw something in there quick, because obviously you mentioned that Harama was pre-season testing last year because of Valencia was flooded out, and they did a fantastic job at moving everything last minute. Last year, obviously, we got the announcement that pre-season testing was on certain dates, and we haven't had it this year. Is that just because we're not sure whether it's going to be Valencia or Harama, or they're still trying to work out dates, or do we have like a date in the diary and they didn't just publicly announce it?
So this shows how good journalist I am. As far as I'm aware, it's Valencia, and I know the date.
Good.
However, it's completely skipped my mind.
Oh damn! Is it in November? No, it has to be in November. It is.
To be honest, my mind has gone blank. But if you give me a second, I'll look up my notes.
I'll talk, and you look it up. That's how.
Basically, long story short, the dates which have been reported by obviously Sam Smith from the Racer Formula Notebook. Yes, that is the ones that I'm aware of. But yeah, so it'll be Valencia.
Yeah, I did think it would be Valencia because that's where they got their holdings.
I missed Valencia last year. And I don't get me wrong, that week was great apart from the end of that week. But yeah, I'm looking. If we're in Valencia, sign me up. I'm definitely there. I miss that place.
Well, if it's in November, then you can definitely go because I won't be there.
We put it this way: they've announced the women's test. It'll be a few days before that, obviously.
Yep.